Leading our discussion, we have FBLA National Treasurer Haneol from Washington. Haneol is a senior at Olympia High School in Olympia, Washington. He joined FBLA purely for the candy, but FBLA gave him tools that changed his life. He enjoys speaking to middle school students where he inspires them to follow their dreams. But where did Haneol get his speaking skills? Through FBLA, Haneol has learned skills he never imagined, such as public speaking, confidence, passion, dedication, and leadership. Haneol has served as president of his chapter and as the executive vice president of Washington FBLA. Furthermore, Haneol has served as the National Western Region vice president and loved meeting members from all across the nation. Haneol believes that FBLA has given him the possibility to learn and break out from the language barriers he faced when he came to America 8 years ago. We are also proud to be joined by Ronak Parikh, an SWMHS alumnus, Rutgers University graduate, and an analyst for Goldman Sachs. Aditya Reddy, the New Jersey FBLA state president and the student chair for Junior Achievement New Jersey. And Ellie Stephan, an Illinois FBLA state officer and a member of the 2020 American Enterprise Project, national first place winning group from Normal Community High School.
Thank you so much for those introductions, Vihaan. And I'm very excited for this session, and we're running a little bit behind schedule, so let's just get started immediately. So first, we're going to go around the group, and I'd just like to have everyone say their name because we know who we are, but we haven't connected the faces yet, and a fun fact about yourself, starting with Haneol.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Haneol, but if you were going to ask a question, if you want to refer to me, just call me John. That's always easier. Fun fact about me is I'm an immigrant from South Korea, actually, and you might have guessed that from the introduction, the great introduction you gave, but I've lived in America for 9 years now. Yeah.
And now on to Ronak.
Hi, my name is Ronak. I want to thank everyone for having us here today. And one fun fact about me is I've done a cross-country road trip before.
Now Aditya.
Hi everyone, my name is Aditya Reddy, and one fun fact about me is that I'm trying to learn the drums. As you can see behind me, I can see the drums back there. So yeah.
And finally, Ellie.
Hi, I'm Ellie Stephan, and a fun fact about me is that I've been playing the violin since 5th grade.
All right. So let's start with, we always talk about financial literacy. Let's just pose that basic question. What does it mean to be financially literate? Let's start with Haneol.
Well, that's a loaded question, but I think to simply put it, I think it's just knowing the ins and outs of where your money's going, so knowing interest, debt, knowing how to work around the stock market, and definitely knowing your credit score. So that would be the simple definition of it, to be literate of financially.
And Ellie, what about you?
Basically, it means that one has effective money management skills, being able to choose investments wisely, efficiently save money for future plans, make knowledgeable decisions with budgeting, and understand what goes into loans, banks, credit cards, and debt are all components of financial literacy. Overall, financial literacy is the ability to make sound, informed decisions when deciding what to do with your money.
All right. Hey guys, sorry about that. I think we had, can you hear me now? All right, sorry about that. I think we had, my phone just decided to turn off for a second. So these questions have been formulated by our executive board. So we're gonna start out, this is gonna be the, not so difficult, but these are gonna be the hard-hitting questions. We have a very diverse panel here with current students, people who have already entered the workforce. For those of you who have left school, that would be Ronak, do you feel that our school system is doing enough to prepare the students for the real world, student loans, paying taxes, other stuff like that? And that's for Ronak.
Going back to my time in high school, I think the system could be improved. Now that I've been 2 years out of college and a few years from high school, I can't really pinpoint much I've focused on in high school on taxes, loans, or any focus on that. I think a lot that I've learned has come from my experience talking to other individuals who are older and kind of what they went through. But there wasn't anything that I felt that high school kind of prepared me for. That's all I kind of learned through college, prepared myself for it. Or, once I graduated, kind of had to figure it out on my feet. So I think the system could be improved a little bit to definitely, help the next generation be more prepared for student loans, taxes, because it's definitely a lot that you take on once you graduate college, and to be prepared for it is a big thing.
Yeah, and that's why I think programs like FBLA are so important, because we're providing stuff that's not available in a classroom setting. So Aditya, you serve as the chairman of the Student Leadership Committee for Junior Achievement New Jersey. Can you talk a little bit about what your organization does and how students and other people can benefit from programs like JA?
Yeah, so Junior Achievement is a nonprofit organization that provides career readiness programs for grades K through 12. So anyone across the state and even the nation can participate in JA. And we have programs like High School Heroes, where you go to your local elementary school and teach kids about personal finance. We have our 24-hour biannual hackathon, where you go to the JA Center and you're given a coding challenge, and then you're judged by real professionals. And then we also have our JA Titan competition, where you're the CEO of a simulated business. So we have a lot of different events and competitions. And if you really do want to get involved, you can just contact me, DM me, or email me after this. Anyone can really get involved.
Yeah, and we'll share the contact information for all of our panelists after the session. The American Enterprise Project is one of the most successful programs in FBLA. It's one of the main things we focus on when we talk about financial literacy. Chapters from across the nation, they increase awareness and participation in the free market economy in their own communities through this project. We're joined by a member of the first place national team that placed first at this year's National Leadership Experience. Ellie, can you speak a little bit? I know we're not going to be very brief here because your project was so incredible, but can you talk a little bit about what your project was, how you went through planning it, any tips that you have for students in preparing their own American Enterprise projects?
Yeah, absolutely. So our project was called Project Create, and it was a year-long initiative from my chapter with goals such as cultivating entrepreneurship, improving communication skills, increasing understanding in the American enterprise system, and of course, promoting financial literacy. We hosted a lot of events to accomplish those goals. In addition to a variety of financial literacy workshops throughout the year, one event was our American Enterprise Day, where over 45 middle level members rotated between 5 stations that each corresponded to a different pillar of the free enterprise system. We also had an elementary school marketplace where younger students were able to come up with a business, such as a homemade comic book store, and barter their goods or services with the paper money they were getting. Students focused on marketing their businesses through the use of sales promotions, rewards programs, coupons, and even raffles. They learned the power of a monopoly through the popularity of the lucky girl who brought Oreos to sell. Students had to wisely allocate the limited money they were given by evaluating each business and what it had to offer. The students liked the marketplace because they actually got to keep their purchases. For example, here's a little comic strip that I got while I was there. Another noteworthy event was our Shark Tank competition for high schoolers, where they developed business plans and were able to pitch them to local professionals. We hosted workshops where our advisor and senior FBLA members helped to refine the business plans prior to the presentation. And then teams were graded on a variety of criteria like presentation skills, effectiveness of visuals, as well as business fundamentals, including cost to begin operations, running costs, profit margins, and potential future expansions. So when planning an American Enterprise project in your own community, I would suggest meeting with the project chairs actually before the school begins, and then thoroughly go through the report rubric from the FBLA website and decide on the objectives of your project in advance. I also found that inviting your entire FBLA chapter to attend committee meetings early on was helpful when it comes to proposing the events you will do throughout the year.
All right, thank you. Haneol, you serve as the FBLA National Treasurer. I know you've only had about a month so far, you're a month into your term. So as the National Treasurer, you lead our organization's financial literacy initiatives. What opportunities and programs does FBLA offer to help develop financial literacy? I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Haneol. I think it might be me, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, my computer being a jerk. But yes, I've only been a national treasurer for a month, so no, there's a lot of planning going on around the opportunities that FBLA is going to be offering to the members, especially because of the COVID-19, the virtual setting. A lot of the opportunity has changed, but a couple of the things that are going to be staying the same is like definitely the stock market game. Go check that out, and we're going to be continuing what the past national treasurer has done, like the weekly like scholarship Monday and the financial literacy competition. Those are just some of the things that we're going to be offering. I have bigger things planned for you guys. We have a new communication system through the Higher Logic. I feel like we're going to be introducing that to every single one of you guys, and through that we're going to be providing a lot of scholarship opportunities, sponsorship opportunities, ways you can do fundraising, and it's going to be I'm not gonna slap you guys a 30-page, report, say, read that thing. No one's gonna read that. We're high schoolers. We got like 5-second attention spans. So what I'm gonna be doing is like making videos, interactive videos where you guys can watch like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and get them, information down to the point of financial literacy. So those are some of the opportunities we're gonna be offering. So yeah.
Yeah. You only had a month so far, but I can already tell that you're gonna do a great job for the other 11 months.
Thank you.
Personally, I feel that there's a big disconnect from what we as students think the real world is and reality. What do you feel, Ronak? What do you feel is the biggest adjustment that you've had to make when entering the workforce, and what do you feel that you could have benefited from learning earlier on during your classroom days?
Sorry, I lost a connection. Can you guys hear me again?
Yep, we can hear you. I think we're all having
repeating the question?
technical difficulties today.
Yeah. Do you mind repeating the question? I might have missed that.
So I think personally that there's a big disconnect between what we as students think the real world is and what the actual reality of it all is. What do you think is the biggest adjustment that you've had to make when entering the workforce from school? And then what do you think you could have benefited if someone had told you earlier on? What was the biggest thing?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is probably the structure. So in high school and in college, you always have kind of a deadline, you have a test coming up, you have a project due, you have, school ends in this time period. Once you graduate college, all that kind of goes away. It's kind of free space. I think that's a big adjustment, kind of, trying to figure out that balance on what do you want to focus on, because there's no deadlines anymore. It's what you determine for yourself. And then in that kind of figure out the balance of, working, your hobbies, as well as, talk about financial literacy, how much do you want to save for yourself? How much do you want to budget for your future? All those things, it's something you kind of learn on the fly, I think. It's a huge adjustment. I'm still learning, to today. It's only been 2 years. I'm still learning, I think. I think advice, if I got it, was just kind of focus on work-life balance. Someone kind of give me some advice on, take things one step at a time. Don't rush through things, and just kind of, just make time for non-work related things. Do your hobbies, make sure you space out things for that, hang out with your friends, but at the same time, be conscious of your future goals. If you want to save for, say you want to buy a car down the road, you got to save for that. Start saving now, or you want to buy a house, start saving for it now. Kind of things like that. Kind of have your goals ready before you graduate. Things like that can kind of help you stay on track, for your future goals.
All right. And building on that, let's say that in the mail right now that you were given $5,000. In the mail you received $5,000. What would you do if you were being smart, and what would you do if you were being fun? And then do you think that there's any time when it's better or when it's okay to be fun instead of being smart? And we're going to start with Aditya.
Okay, well, I want to start by saying that I think sometimes the smart choice can be the fun choice, but my obvious fun choice would be to spend it on an experience, like going skydiving or going on a vacation. And then I would say the smart choice would be to obviously invest it somewhere, whether it be like the stock market, real assets, or a high interest income account. And I think that it's important to make fun choices sometimes, just because none of us can work 24/7, and it's important to let loose a little bit. So. Mm-hmm.
And we're going to go to next, Haneol.
Well, okay, so one thing I want to point out is like there's like a lawnmower noise going around. Can you guys hear that? I think that's Ellie.
Yeah, I
You
can hear.
maybe
I don't know where that's coming from.
you maybe unmute that. It's gone. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what is
Yeah,
it?
I don't know what
Five
it is.
thousand dollars. $5,000 for me, honestly. The smart move is obviously invested, like Aditya said, like, you invested in blue chips or anything like that. Of course, don't invest it in like volatile stocks like Tesla or something like that. That's a bad idea. But I do know some people who do that. But yeah, definitely invest in that. But the fun move would be to just spend it. But like I feel like there's a difference between spending it like in a fun way and wasting it. Like wasting would be like coffee, like coffee every day. That's a humongous waste, honestly, every single year. Like you have no idea how many people waste their money on that. But if you look at like maybe like experience wise, what Aditya said, skydiving for your 18th birthday, yeah, totally go for it. That's super fun. You should do it. But and the next question is like which one overrides whatever. I think it's like really depending on the person. It's what you value. Do you value like what comes right away? Do you value instant satisfaction, or do you value like long term, good financial, aid when you get older or something like that? I mean, I like this latter, like the second one, but like, it really depends what you value, but I don't think you should be doing one of the extreme. Like you should be doing both, but finding the balance of what you like, what you value, what you see is right fit for you. That's what you should be doing.
And building on your coffee point, $5,000 is a lot of coffee, or like maybe one time at Starbucks. Who are we going to next? We're going to Ellie.
Well, I might be that person that spends $5,000 each year on coffee, to be perfectly honest. But if I had $5,000 to spend on a fun thing right now, I would definitely plan a trip to France, post-COVID, of course. And then for a smart option, I would invest the $5,000 in a mutual fund and save it for spending in college. I think that it's fine to do the fun option if you have enough money in your budget to live comfortably without that sort of money.
See, I think the issue with this panel is everyone here is too smart, so everyone's making too smart decisions here. So now, Ronak, what would you do?
I would also invest it in a smart decision. Just for down the road, if I put $5,000 away today, 7-10% a year for 30 years, I'm in the future is probably what I want to do for it down the road for my retirement. But for the fun decision, I'll probably travel somewhere. I think, in terms of when to decide between a smart and the fun decision, sometimes you need to take that break, like we spoke about, get that work-life balance. So definitely I would take a trip somewhere to just kind of take a break from work, kind of get away, recharge. And I think, depending on where you are in your life with your goals and kind of what you're looking to do, it's kind of a good way to determine, if it's time to do a smart.
All right. In an increasingly digital world, especially with COVID, how do you think financial education has changed? Because there's a statement that everything we learn is about 10 years too late. So how do you think financial education has been changing due to the digital nature of the world today? And we're going to start with Haneol.
Yes, I'm unmuted. Okay, digital. I think this is like really getting into the accessibility of the education. Like, because it's going so digital and you can find financial education anywhere in the internet. Like you can literally learn what the FICO score is through the internet. But like back then you couldn't do that. So like I think it's the notion of like there's no excuse for you to say, oh, I didn't know, like no, you could literally it's in your fingertips. It's in the internet. It's everywhere. And so I feel like now the world has become to a place where you can't say that you don't know financial literacy because of blah, blah, blah. It's like there's education out there. You just need to go and start it. That's literally it now. I think that's what has changed.
And Ronak, you've seen this change happen from when you first started in school. I don't think very much was digital. You actually lived through that transition. So how do you think it's changed?
Hey, sorry, I lost connection again. Do you mind repeating that question again?
Yeah. And just a thing, you guys don't have to unmute yourselves. It's okay if you guys keep yourselves on. So you've seen, of course, the change between a digital world and or a physical world and a digital world. You've lived through that change. How do you think financial literacy has changed from, say, when you were in middle school and now?
Yeah, so I think definitely it's changed to be more technology based. And I think it's a good thing, for our generation. I think it's easier now because a lot of companies now have kind of switched over to technology. So a lot of times with credit card companies, they have an ability to they kind of show you your finances throughout the month, for the quarter, for the year, and how much you're spending, where you're spending it, and things along those lines. Definitely made it easier for our generation to understand where we stand, our finances better. Um, and I think sometimes people might struggle due to just the ability of just like I mentioned, that balance. I think that might be a factor where sometimes younger people struggle. But I think with all the new technology, I think it's getting better for everyone and definitely a lot easier than it was in the past.
All right, and same question, Ellie.
Yeah, I agree that education is just really accessible now. You can immediately Google any financial term you don't understand. And there's also a proliferation of free tools to assist in budget planning and investment allocation. For example, most mutual funds have tools on their website to help with things like that.
And then along that, do you think it's becoming easier or harder for people to understand their finances? And why do you think that young people, especially people who are just getting out of college, why do they struggle with their finances so often? And we're going to start with going back to Ronak.
Well, sometimes because I think it's that balance I mentioned. Because when you first graduate college, there's no structure, like I mentioned. So it's a lot of freedom to do a lot of things. Maybe get a car. Maybe you might want to do a little riskier of investment. But at the same time, you have a lot of more responsibilities. You have rent to pay, utilities, groceries, student loans. All these things do add up over time. And I think it's just that ability to kind of properly prepare for those things, understand how much can you actually spend, how much can you not spend, and kind of what is your goal down the road. And I think that is kind of the reason why some people struggle because, like I mentioned, it takes some time to figure out what that balance is for yourself. And I think that kind of leads to the struggle. But I think over time, with technology and these new applications kind of telling you your finances, it's a lot better and a lot easier for people to avoid those struggles.
And same question, Aditya.
I have to agree with Ronak. I think that it has become a lot easier for young people to understand their finances just because of the vast amount of education there is, the vast amount of resources there are in the world. Like John said, people can watch videos about almost anything now. So there are free budgeting tools to track your finances. But I think the reason people struggle with their finances either because they have a lack of understanding or that they just don't care enough. So if we can get them educated and we can get them to care, I think it would solve a lot of problems.
And then we have a few people, I think we're all kind of worried about colleges. This whole COVID thing has screwed up the traditional process. For all three of you who are about to enter college, do you think you're prepared to take on those student loans? Or do you think you're prepared to bear the cost of college? And if you are, how do you get prepared? And if you aren't, what do you think that you and many students today could benefit from? And we're going to start with Ellie.
I believe I am prepared. I'm privileged to have parents who lived below their means so they could save for my college from my birth. Thankfully, because they started saving early and I can apply to scholarships and take advantage of in-state tuition, I am prepared to enter college. When I enter college, I am going to draft a monthly budget for myself to manage the amount of money I spend so that I won't, blow all the money I've worked for during high school on daily Starbucks runs or anything. I also plan on going to law school after undergraduate studies, and I plan to save the money for my part-time job for those loans, as well as apply to every scholarship I possibly can. I'll have to pay off law school every month for a few years after I graduate, but it's an investment in my future.
Yeah, we talk about investing. I think we've gotten away from that fact that education is an investment. I think we have to start looking at it like that. And then same question, Aditya.
So I think I'm in the process of being prepared. Like Ellie, I'm lucky enough to have parents that want to help cover the cost of tuition. But I think that just try and get as many scholarships as possible. Like start applying as soon as you can. Like I've already started applying, and then just educating yourself about how student loans work, how to get the best rate, and all that. I think that's very important.
And I think Haneol, we were talking about this before. Same question.
Yeah, I was talking to him about this question because I was like wondering, wait, what do you mean to be educated? Because unlike Aditya and Ellie, like I have no preparation. Like my parents say none, like nada. I come from a very, very low income family. Like I've lived a really poor life, but you know, I think it's more to be right now as a high schooler, it's better to be educated how to avoid that student loan because as Ronak said, like when you graduate college and then you see the student loan, people think, oh, just pay it off, but like you just sits there and you're just like, oh shoot, like what? How do I do with this? So I think, I mean, as a student right now, there's so many programs out there that you could be applying to get a full ride to colleges. And I'm not talking about like your state schools or anything like that. I'm talking about Ivy League schools or like, you know, top 20 colleges. They have programs where you can literally apply and they, if you're good enough, they'll give you all the money. And if you're need-based, like there's a program called QuestBridge. I don't know how many people are watching. If your parents both combined make under 65K, you can apply to this program. And what this program does is it matches your college if you're good enough, of course, and early by December 1st, and it's a full 4-year ride. Now, how does that sound? And that's including room, board, and travel, and $2,000 of extra money to research. So I think you just got to do research. You just got to find the scholarship that's out there. And especially for those people who come from a low-income family, do not like dare to dream big, go to like humongous colleges, get out of your comfort zone, go to other states, you know. Just because of your financial situation does not mean that you have to stay in your state school and get the FAFSA, WAPSA, whatever. I'm from Washington, so I just said WAPSA, but like, so stuff like that. They're like, go outside your zone, do your research, and try to avoid that student loan because I think it's not the best to have it. But if you do have it after college, I think it's better to pay it off aggressively, like really fast. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something that our generation struggles with. We underestimate ourselves. I think that if you're on this call, you're already ahead of the curve. Just if you're unsure, apply because you're probably going to get it just based on how amazing you guys are. Just by being on this call, it's just showing that initiative, and you're really getting invested in your future. And now we've had someone who has gone through college, who's been through this whole the 4-year experience that we're all dreading. Ronak, how did you take control of your finances after college, and how did you effectively manage that student loan if you took a student loan?
So before I start, I like to say, talking about applying to colleges, definitely apply everywhere. You know, don't settle. Definitely everyone on this call has the ability to go to Ivy League schools and top schools, so don't settle at all. I was speaking to someone that was in that shoe 4 or 5 years ago. Definitely do that. In terms of managing finances and student loans, what I found helpful was I myself created an Excel sheet for myself on a daily basis. I always keep track of how much do I spend on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, and how much do I have left over for my budgeting. And if you happen to save a lot more than you expected, definitely pay off those loans a lot faster than you want to, or that you can. The faster you do it, the less interest you have to pay, and the less you owe. So as Haneol had mentioned, the more aggressive you are on it, the better it is down the road. So definitely, just again, like I said, managing your budget. An Excel sheet I found to be very helpful. I think now there's a lot of technology out there to kind of help you keep on track with your phone and kind of your daily expenses. So definitely just kind of keep an eye on it, be wary of what's going on. And once you graduate college, is also going to be credit card debt too. So kind of putting that into the picture as well, just kind of look at the whole picture, kind of keep your eye on it, be very cognizant of what you owe and kind of what you're able to afford and not afford in terms of your budget.
All right. What tips do you guys have to help students empower themselves and their peers through financial education? We'll go straight back to Ronak.
So I think, like I mentioned, technology is growing, and there's a lot of technology out there about financial education. So I definitely leverage, as much as you can. I also would say, leverage, your friends, your family, those that are older than you that have been in a situation before. That definitely can give you, words of advice, tips on what they did, maybe mistakes they made that you can kind of avoid. They can kind of get that to you, and hopefully you can avoid the same mistakes down the road. And also, I'd say, kind of circle yourself with friends that are in the same boat. They kind of help you kind of, I guess, in a way, keep you on track, I would say. I've kind of experienced that too. If you have a group of friends all kind of talking about budgeting, kind of where you are and things like that, it kind of helps to see what others are doing, how they're thinking about it, and kind of helping you stay on track with your budget. Because, like I said, once you graduate college, the structure goes away. It's kind of easy to kind of maybe deter away from that, budget you had or that plan you had. So kind of help some keep you on track to keep you back on that budget plan you had.
Yeah, and I think that this changed everything. We've had the privilege of growing up in a technological society. We have everything at our fingertips. We just have to reach out and grab it. So same question, Haneol.
Yeah, tips. I would just be like, just find your interest, find like that drive to like love, like what is money? I know that sounds so bad, right? But like, it's like, what is money? Like, go up to your parents and ask us, like, so like, what's our credit score? Like, what's our FICO score? And like, they're not gonna kill you. Like, they're not gonna be like, of course, they might be like, why are you asking? Like, that's not, no, that's adult stuff, you know. But like, you tell them the interest, do your research. I told you, like, I want to repeat what Ronak said, like about. It's all in your fingertips. You can all look it up in the internet. Like, if your parents dare to ask, like, why do you want to know my FICO score? Of course, that's a personal matter. Don't ask that to anyone else. Only ask that to your parents, the close ones. Don't ask that to other people. Now, they might be like, wait, what? And then explain to them about your interest about financial. And like, talk to your parents, talk to your friends who are interested in that field, and see what they know. See what you can learn from them, because it's a collaborative effort. You know? Yeah.
And same question, Aditya.
Yeah, so I would say just take it slow. Make sure that you know what you're doing, you know what you're spending, and just take time to learn, because that's really the most important thing, making sure that you know what you're doing.
All right, and over to you, Ellie.
I really love Freakonomics books personally. Reading those books and other financial books that your business teacher suggests are a fantastic learning opportunity. Also, yeah, consulting your parents and other mentors on what they do to manage their money is a good resource as well. And if you need to file taxes from, say, a part-time job, make sure that you do it yourself with the help of a mentor instead of someone else taking care of it for you.
All right, and this is a question that we've actually got through the pane here. And I know I haven't asked you guys about this before, but I think our attendees would like to know a little bit more about you. So what is one thing that you're excited for in the year to come? And we're going to start with Aditya.
One thing that I'm excited for, well, this is my senior year of high school, so I'm excited to see what that's going to be like. And I really just want to get into the whole money saving as much, because this year I'll be making, because I started a job recently, so I'll be making a little bit more money, so I can practice all my budgeting skills, practice basically what I've been learning for the past few years.
And over to Haneol.
I mean, I'm a senior too, and gonna be true. Like, if I'm honest with you, I would be just say like I'm ready to graduate. But but that's actually something that's I'm excited about, this whole college process and getting into the college and really investing in like what my financial thing, because that's when you really become independent. Like, I feel like, because when you're in high school, you're in the same household as your parents, and like there's a lot of like, you know, your parents look at. But when you go off to college, like let's say I went to like the Arizona State University or something, I went there, it's just like, I don't know, I'm miles apart. Like, I'm not like contacting them, anything. Just, you're very independent. I'm really excited for that process. Yeah.
And over to you, Ellie.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see what senior year is going to look like, because frankly, I have no idea. My school is going all remote, and while obviously that's very sad, I'm excited to see what other opportunities crop up as a result of that. For example, maybe I'll have more time to spend at my internship at a law firm, or maybe I can just spend more time with FBLA planning new adjustable activities that are socially distanced, and just new ideas and new opportunities.
And over to you, Ron. Same question.
Oh yeah, so the next year, I mean, I don't have a senior year, I don't have anything like that to look forward to. But next year, I think just in general, you know, every year things are always changing. You know, like I said, technology is always growing. So I think as I'm looking forward to is the next change. You know, whatever that might be. I know it's something that's coming. I just don't know what it is yet. So I'm just looking forward to seeing, you know, how our lives will change, you know, through technology and kind of improve. Because technology seems to be improving things, you know, year after year. So I'm kind of looking forward to see that, because I think, you know, what we're going through now is a lot different than what my parents went through. So I think it's kind of experiencing that, you know, kind of seeing how that is and impacts, you know, the day-to-day life. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
And yeah, unfortunately, just like all of our high school careers, our panel for session today is coming to an end. Just as a closing statement, what is one piece of advice that you have for those that are getting worried about the financial education that they have? Starting with Aditya.
So one last final piece of advice that I have to give you is just don't be scared of going after what you want. I once heard a quote that said, if your dreams aren't scaring you, they aren't big enough. So you have to go after what you want, and personal finance can easily be managed if you know what you're doing.
And over to Ellie.
I would definitely suggest signing up for business classes at your school or researching investments that you can make with your own money. Even if you're not growing your bank account that much, it's still great practice.
And then Ronak, the only one of us who's living in the real world instead of the nice reality that we have in our head. What is your piece of advice?
Yeah, I'll say in college, definitely, join business clubs. Like everyone mentioned, you're going to learn a lot from the people you surround yourself with, the things they're going through, and just kind of pick up on skills for the future. In terms of just non-college advice, just, like Aditya said, reach for the stars. Apply for any job you see. Don't let anything stop you guys. Definitely keep applying. I'm sure you guys will get, what you're looking for. So definitely keep that up. And in terms of financial education, I would say just do your research before, investing or doing anything outrageous, I would say. Technology is there for everything, but definitely do your research before investing or doing anything, drastic, I would say. And yeah, that's all I'll always say. And
then over to you, Haneol.
For me, I'm going to use last year's FBLA theme, and this is going to get backlash. But this world is a world of opportunity. There's like so many opportunities out there, and you can reach out and do anything you want. And with this financial literacy, one advice is don't worry. Worry is like a rocking chair. It'll give you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. You know what I mean? So, financial literacy, that's like signing up for business classes. Do it, do your research and everything. But I think it's just a part of life too. And you know how life is. Life is never something that you can be taught in the textbook or anything like that. So that's what I believe. Going into college, I'm gonna do my research. I'm gonna sign up for classes. But life's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen to your financial budget. Something's gonna happen. So it's a learning process as you go on. So don't worry. I feel like it's a process. Coming from a low income family, I had to deal with a lot of financial backlashes in my family where it was just like, oh shoot, like things are looking bad here. We got to do this. And like there's a lot of that. Life happens, and you're gonna fight through it because you're strong. All right.
And just before we move into our closing for the panel today, the reason that we've invited all of these people is because although they have a position in Goldman Sachs and FBLA, they are just like you. They're all very personable. They are all in the same boat as countless students across the nation. And I think their experience is going to be beneficial for you because they are in the same position that you're in. And just to close us out for today, Haneol, what do you recommend for FBLA members that want to get involved and empower people in their communities?
All right, FBLA members, go to your advisors, talk to them. I don't care if they're like the advisor type that's like, well, I don't want to do that. I got this school thing. It's like, no, convince them. They will work with you. There's a reason why they don't get paid and do that job. And so go talk to your advisor. Second advice is follow the FBLA National Treasurer Instagram. It's gonna go bomb. It's gonna get really active in September, October. You guys better get excited. And then do the financial literacy competition. We want a lot of you guys to compete. No, not in a bad way, but compete. Yeah, and join the stock market game. And get involved with your chapter. If you're chapter president, talk to your chapter advisor. If you're a member, go do all the competition, do the stock market game. Then if you have any questions, email me. You'll be surprised. When I was a Western Region Vice President, I got like 3 emails from members, and I'm like, really? You guys can email the national officers anytime, anywhere. You can email me about anything. So, and I'll respond in 24 hours. Promise. That's my rule. So if I break that, I'm in trouble. So yeah.
All right. And Haneol, that was a great impression. I'm sure that was very accurate. Thank you all so much. I'd like to thank all of our panelists. I think that was very insightful and very helpful. Thank you all so much for taking the time out of your weekend to come and speak to us.